This is CMSportsNet, brought to you by Carroll Lynx.
Thanks for joining us on CMSportsNet's Fall Wrap-Up Show. I'm Mike Preston, and with me is Bill McKenna.
Mike, thanks very much. Enjoy being with you again this year.
Well, glad to have you, Bill. Today, we'll take a look back at the 2019 season for the Westminster Girls Soccer team, the Owls football team, and the inaugural season for the Carroll Lynx men's soccer team. We've got a lot to cover, so let's start things off with some highlights of the Westminster Girls Soccer season.
Westminster Owls offense took possession of the ball from the start, but Wooten's goalie was an absolute wall. It wasn't until 21 minutes into the first half that Owls' Faith Chmielewski was able to score. Owls keeper Sydney Hetrick stays aggressive for the Owls as both defenses were strong for this entire game. What was surely the shot of the game, maybe the season, Elsa Schoberg rifles the ball to the back of the net to give the Owls a 2-0 lead. It was a strong defensive battle most of the night, but the Lady Owls of Westminster prevailed with a narrow win, 3-2. It was stellar defense throughout the game for the Eagles, as the Owls had a hard time finding a way to put the ball in the net. Owls' Emily Davis crosses the ball from midfield for the offense to put a good head on the ball as they score their first goal of the game. The Owls extend their lead on a laser free kick from 25 yards away, 2-0, Westminster. It was all Westminster as the Lady Owls offense was able to get through the Eagles' tight defense. The game ended 2-0, Westminster. The offense from both teams came out firing with this one, but both attacks by each team missed goals as their keepers on either side denied shot after shot. The Owls commit a crucial penalty. Number 15, Taylor Dads, takes a free kick from the corner of the penalty box, but the Owls' defense is there to clear the ball. The Maverick defense commits an error of their own in what leads to a tense free kick, but the Owls are unable to connect the kick for the win. After an absolute grueling evening in Manchester with 2 overtimes, the match eventually ends in a tie 0-0.
Joining us now is Danielle Midkiff, coach of the Westminster Girls Soccer team. Danielle, thanks for joining us today, and talk a little bit about the challenges of this past season.
So this is my second year coaching at Westminster, and we graduated the previous year 12 seniors. So I think that in and of itself was a huge challenge that we had, 12 kind of shoes to, holes to fill. So that was a challenge. I think another challenge was just the fact that we had a lot of really close games that we just didn't come out on top, that we would lose by 1 or lose by 2, but super, super close games that we just felt really unlucky a lot during the season.
Danielle, I'm sure you had a lot of great players on the team, but were there any
Absolutely.
key players in your mind?
So I think our 5 seniors were hugely key players just because they kept the team motivated, and we didn't have a great season, but somehow they kept the spirit of the team up and they kept us going. Also, we had Elsa Schoberg was one of our middle midfielders, and she was honored as first team for the All County, and then she was first team CCAL, like coach's choice. So I think she was definitely a key player.
Notice you had some great defensive efforts against Wooten, Key, and Manchester Valley. How did you build and stimulate your offense?
That was a challenge this year. We definitely had a challenge finding the goal, but I think our defense really stepped up. We had pretty much all of our defenders were non-starters last year, minus we had 2 seniors who kind of played equal time last year. So I think they really stepped up to move the ball to midfield, and then I really think it was our midfield. Like, we had great outside midfielders with Lauren Saltz, and Faith was great on the outside, and then we had Elsa in the middle with Kate, and then Emily Davis, who was second team All County. So I think our midfield really helped move it up and create some offense there. So most of our goals came from the midfield playing it forward to those offensive players and looking for those crosses and those shots.
Wow. So what can we expect for next year?
Hopefully lots of better things than this year. I'm hoping that we find the goal next year. That's really, I think defensively we're going to be really strong next year because we have all of these juniors are now returning as seniors next year. So we should be really strong defensively. Our midfield should be really strong next year, and hopefully we can just find the net next year and find the goal. Yeah.
So you're going to do a lot of camps during the summer?
Yeah, so during the summer, one of the things we started last year that I think was super successful is we do summer workouts just with our high school girls. We usually go to one team camp during the summer. But the other thing that we started doing last year is for the two of the local club teams for WSA and for Central Carroll, we started where the high school girls actually ran camps for the little girls in the area. And we're hoping to do a lot more of that and spread that this year.
So how much more time do you have to give as a coach?
Yeah.
Probably a lot more time. But I love the game of soccer, and the game of soccer has given so much to me, and I love giving back.
All righty. Well, good luck next season.
Thank you so much
for showing up. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much.
So, how did the rest of the Girls Soccer League fare this season? Here with a league review is Megan Woodward from the Carroll County Times.
Century posted one of its best seasons in school history this fall, with a perfect 13-0 regular season record and an appearance in the Class 2A state semifinals. The Knights lost to Calvert 1-0 in overtime and finished 16-1. Sophomore Haley Greenwade led the county with 52 points, 23 goals, and 4 assists, and was named the Times Player of the Year. The Knights registered 11 shutouts. Francis Scott Key faced some struggles this fall and finished 3-10, but landed one of the county's top scorers on the all-county first team in senior Marina Weller. Senior Alana Ray helped lead Liberty to a 12-4 record and an appearance in the second round of the 2A West playoffs. The Lions registered 7 shutouts this fall. Manchester Valley posted a 6-2 record and suffered a double overtime loss to county foe Westminster in the 3A East playoffs. South Carroll was led by all-countians Brooke Flanagan and Peyton Galucki this fall, and the Cavaliers finished with a 10-3 record after suffering a first-round playoff loss to Glenelg in penalty kicks. Westminster junior Elsa Schoberg netted the game winner in the Owls' double overtime playoff win over Man Valley, and the Owls finished the season with 5 wins. Winners Mill won 3 straight late games in the season to get to 500. The Falcons lost to Oakland Mills in the first round of the 2A West playoffs and finished the year 6-7.
Thank you, Megan. When we come back, it's all about the new kids on the block, the Carroll County Lynx men's soccer team. Coach Tom O'Brien will be here to tell us all about their inaugural season. So don't go away. CMSportsNet will be right back.
One of the shots of the year, Caleb Lippy passes the ball to number 18, Brandon Bemestifer, who fires a 30-yard shot on the right side of the net and converts on the game winner. Lynx win 2-1.
Welcome back to CMSportsNet. I'm Mike Preston. This year, Carroll Community College rolled out their new sports program. We followed the Lynx men's soccer team during their first season and pulled together some of the highlights. Take a look.
In the Maryland Junior College Athletic Conference, the Carroll Lynx made their debut appearance in Westminster. The Hagerstown Hawks made the first score of the evening, but the Lynx answered right back as Andrew Nellies scored on a free kick. Number 16 passes from the backfield to Nick Halderson, who scored on a breakaway. Number 21 crosses a pass to number 9 Nick Halderson as he strikes again to give the Lynx a 3-1 lead. Halderson continues his brilliant effort as he makes his 3rd goal of the match, making the score 4-1 Lynx. Caleb Lippy waltzes in to put the ball in the net to give Carroll Community a 5-2 lead. The Hawks find a weakness in Carroll's defense as number 11 found the right side of the net to give them their 3rd goal of the match. As the final whistle blew, the Lynx put an exclamation point on a fantastic inaugural season in Westminster as the final score was 6-3 Lynx. The electric offense of Carroll kicks off as Anthony Goad heads the ball to the back of the net to give the Lynx a 1-0 lead. The Lynx offense had great possession of the ball, but the Alleghenies goalie, Brady Rounds, stops not 1, not 2, but 12 Lynx shots on the net. But the Lynx continue their offensive onslaught as Caleb Lippy finally connects on the net to give them a 2-0 lead. Daniel Villatoro brings the ball upfield as he puts one in the back of the net to give the Lynx a 3-0 lead. Finally, number 14 for Allegheny puts them on the board to make the score 3-1. Joseph Lippy passes to Anthony Go, who takes advantage of a wide-open net. 4-1 Lynx. Brady Rounds tries his best to fend off the Carroll offense, but the Lynx never give up. It was a long afternoon for Allegheny as the Carroll offense firepower landed shot after shot, finishing with a blowout score of 14-1 Lynx. The Lynx offense starts off fast as Caleb Lippy dribbles the ball downfield. He then passes to Anthony Goad, who connects to give them a 1-0 lead. The offensive push continues for the Lynx as Nick Halderson scores the next 2 goals. Chesapeake's Bradley King takes advantage of a free kick to put them on the board 3-1 Lynx. Caleb Lippy goes airborne as he heads the ball into the left of the net to give the Lynx their 4th goal of the match. Lynx Kyle Hardy puts a foot on the ball to make the match 5-1. The Lynx strike again as they connect on an absolute laser to the left side of the net. Number 7 for Chesapeake passes to Bradley King, who puts a good foot on the ball to make the score 6-2 Lynx. Jaden Cassell scores the 3rd goal for Chesapeake, giving them hope. On the following possession, Chesapeake had a chance to put themselves back into the match, but Justin Ricketts charges out of the goal to make the stop. The Lynx were able to regain their offensive momentum as Matthew Brower passes to Nick Holderson, who scores the 3rd goal of the match, ending the game 7-3 Lynx.
Joining us now is Tom O'Brien, head coach for the Carroll Lynx men's soccer team. Welcome, Tom. And hey, talk a little bit about being the first team, athletic team at your school.
Well, aside from being very excited and just having a great time this past fall, we were lucky to experience a number of firsts, right? We had our first game, we had our first goal, we had our first win. Unfortunately, during the season, we had our first loss as well. We had our first overtime win. So we had a number of firsts, but what we did is we had an opportunity to build a very good foundation from the beginning, and hopefully one that we can continue to build on going forward.
So what does a first-year coach tell prospects?
Tell them to come along, play the game they love, have fun, get a good education, and get a good education, quite honestly, at a really good price comparative to four-year university.
Tom, you seem to do very well against some of the seasoned teams like Allegheny, Hagerstown, and Chesapeake. Can you tell us a little bit about those games?
Well, with Hagerstown being our first game, it was exciting in the way that the school built up to it. We get out there, we start playing, and unfortunately, Hagerstown scored on us first. But we were able to actually reverse the tides very quickly and played well against them. And I think we finished 6-3 against them. Then we played Allegheny, and actually I didn't really prepare my team for Allegheny because Allegheny wasn't as good as Hagerstown, and we got up on them early, and we got to the point where we were scoring and we were holding them and shutting them down, and we got everybody off the bench, so everybody got minutes. But what I would have liked to have seen us do is actually use that opportunity to train some more for our next game. Instead of scoring goals, I would have liked us to try some things a little bit different aside from playing new players. And then finally, the other game was an exciting game, and I would be remiss not to mention the fact that we then played Anne Arundel Community College and beat them 3-2 in overtime, which was probably one of the more exciting games during the season.
Who were some of your standout players?
We had a number, but right away, the MVP of the team, Justin Ricketts. Justin, a first-year goalkeeper here, obviously, because it's our new program. 100 saves, averaged about 8 saves per game. Caleb Libby finished with 24 points. And then Nick Halderson, who finished with 22. And actually, Nick didn't play 5 games out of the season and still finished with 11 goals. He averaged 1 goal per game, so it was pretty exciting to watch him play.
So going into next season, what kind of changes do you anticipate?
Maybe less changes, but more building on the foundation that we have. But in terms of the way that we train and the way that we play, faster, more physical, more intense. Some of the feedback that I got as I started talking to the players after the season is they'd like to see practices that are more competitive. And one of the things that I want to see is us play a game that's much faster and much more intense and take it to the other teams instead of kind of sitting back and waiting for our opportunities.
How about recruiting? What's your next step there?
So this has been a good fall. We've been out, talking to a lot of kids around the county, and we've seen a lot of good soccer. Carroll County has great soccer. So we compete, obviously, with four-year schools. So the tough piece here is because Carroll County has such good soccer, we have kids that have, I should say, young men that have the opportunity to go on to four-year schools, where we have to convince them that our two-year bargain is a good way to start out and play soccer and get an education.
Right.
So what do you do to prepare yourself for the future of the program?
Get out there, get it out as much as possible. Get out to as many games as possible, get to meet as many people as possible. Also let the players know that they represent the brand. So it's important for them to, when they're out, to present themselves well and to talk about the program and talk about the things that they've experienced. And matter of fact, they're one of my best recruiting tools.
So, Tom, thanks for coming out tonight. Appreciate it. All right, and good luck next season. Coming up after the break, we turn our focus to our football action. We have all the highlights, so stick around. CMSportsNet is coming right back.
The ball is handed off to Eric Stranko, who takes the ball all the way to the house. A 43-yard touchdown run for Stranko, and the Owls take the lead against Winners Mill 7-0.
The Westminster Owls performed well on the field this year, including some playoff games. Let's take a look at some of their regular season highlights.
Westminster Owls take on the Glenelg Gladiators. After the Owls defense comes up big, Jalen Bradford leads them on a drive. He hands the ball to Ben Flowers, who races downfield, but has the ball ripped out of his hands for a fumble. Glenelg's Mason Davis connects with Alex Dalton to make the score 7-0. Bradford hands the ball off to Stranko, who stays on his feet and runs the ball into the end zone. The Owls' defense comes up big as they block the Gladiators' field goal attempt. Mattingly runs 15 yards into the end zone for the touchdown, 23-21 Glenelg. The Owls' defense has been unable to stop the Gladiators' run game as Kyle Dry runs an incredible 88-yard touchdown. The Owls refuse to give in as Stranko runs in another touchdown to bring them within 2 points. On a two-point conversion attempt, Bradford drops back for the pass and connects to teammate number 18, tying the score. With 42 seconds left in the game, Bradford once again hands the ball off to Stranko, who scores the go-ahead touchdown. The Owls were down by 2 possessions in this game as they come back from behind to beat Glenelg 36-29 at Ruby Field in Westminster. The keys to the city were on the line as Winners Mill Falcons faced Westminster Owls. It starts off rocky for the Owls as Nate Mattingly fumbles a handoff. Falcons defensive lineman number 2 is there to recover the fumble. The Falcons get some offense going of their own as quarterback number 11 drops back to pass to Cam Vogel, who makes a leaping catch in the corner of the end zone, 14-7 Westminster. Owls quarterback passes to a wide-open Bainbridge, who runs for an 80-yard touchdown. The Falcons run up the middle, fumble the ball, and the Owls are there to recover it. This is the 3rd turnover for the Owls defense tonight. The Owls kicker, Evan Warren, lines up for a 39-yard field goal and kicks the ball right through the uprights, 24-7 Westminster. The Falcons are still trying to generate some offense as number 11 drops back to pass, but he passes right to the Owl defensive back, 21, for the interception. Mattingly on the 1-yard line rushes into the end zone for another Owls touchdown, 30-7 Westminster. The Owls defense played a key role in this game, ending with a score of 45-14 Westminster.
Here with some insights into the Owls' success this year's Westminster defensive line coach, Marlon Jordan. Marlon, thanks for joining us today. I know Coach Batchelor's a little under the weather and couldn't make it, but we appreciate you coming in. And Tell us about your season, success you had up there at Westminster.
Thank you. We had a pretty good season this year. I think we definitely overachieved this year. We had a great bunch of guys. Coach Basler's first year coming down from McDaniels to coach with us. We started out the season kind of rocky with our first two games with losses. And then after that, we started to gain momentum and our team started to come together. We had a young team, so it took a little time to figure some things out. But by that third game, I think we figured some things out on offense and defense. And then we got rolling. We ran off 7 games in a row to finish out the season. We had a bunch of big games. We had to win games all type of ways this year. So it was definitely something that we rode on, that momentum going into the playoffs. And everything turned out well. We had a bunch of guys make all-county teams. And for Coach Basler's first year, I think things went well. We got a lot of discipline back in the program. I think our preparation this year was a lot better than it was last year. Things kind of fell off a little bit last year, but I think we got everything back on track this year.
Marlon, I got a chance to see just about all your games this year. You seem to really get it rolling against Century, Man Valley, and Liberty. What do you attribute to that? What really brought that about?
Those were big games for us. Man Valley moved over to the east with us this year, and they came from when we were over in the Frederick region. So when we played them, they were on a winning streak. They had won 4 games in a row. They were feeling good. They were the number 2, 3 team in our region, and we were number 6 at that time. So they definitely felt we had put it to them the last 2 years. So I think they definitely wanted some revenge when they came in to play us. And they were pretty pumped up, and that was a game we circled on the calendar because we knew that would be big implications as far as the region was concerned, and also with the county because we had aspirations of being county champions again. Sure. So when they came in, they put up a pretty good fight at the beginning, but we were ready. We had planned. We had a good week of preparation, and by the time we hit the field, we were ready to play. And when we came on the field, we showed we were ready, winning that game 40-0, if I'm not mistaken. And that was a good building game because that was our second game in county and playing against a team that was leading the county. That definitely held big for us. So once we got that win, things got rolling, and then we played Century. And at the time we played Century, they were on a 4-game winning streak, I believe. And they have a good program, good coaches over there, good kids. They put up good competition against us. Their running back was pretty good. The week before, he had put up 200-some-odd yards. So we definitely focused our defense, especially our defensive line, on stopping him, and we thought that would be the key to winning that game. And we came out and we did pretty good against them, and our offense got rolling, and we rolled over that game, and that was another big game for us as far as the county was concerned. And then the game against Liberty, that holds dear to my heart because I coached at Liberty for 6 years. So going into Liberty the last 3 years, we've played them for the county championship. And so going in there with our quarterback, our backup quarterback, going over there being their starting quarterback, it made a pretty good rivalry for us over the last couple of years. And that was a big game that helped us to win the county championship and kind of propelled us going into the playoffs.
Wonderful.
Well, Marlon, thanks for stopping by, for giving us a glimpse into your football program. Hey, and good luck next season.
Thank you.
All right. The Westminster Owls weren't the only Carroll County team who did well this season. Here with a league review is Megan Woodward from the Carroll County Times.
Carroll County had 5 football teams play in the postseason this fall, and 2 made it as far as the state quarterfinals. Liberty senior quarterback Nate Kent, this year's Times Player of the Year, helped lead the Lions to an 8-4 record and 2 playoff wins in a season for the first time in program history. Liberty reached the 2A Final 8 before losing to Elkton. Westminster went 6-0 in county play and advanced to the 3A quarterfinals. The Owls, led by all-county dual threat Eric Strenko, defeated Long Reach and Marriott's Ridge before falling to Mervo in the quarterfinals. The Owls defeated Liberty 34-31 in an overtime thriller for the county title in Week 8. Century pulled out county wins against Francis Scott Key, Manchester Valley, South Carroll, and Winters Mill, but lost in the first round of the 2A West playoffs. The Knights, led by all-county running back Landon Bruce, finished the year at 6-4. Francis Scott Key had an up-and-down regular season, but qualified for the 1A North playoffs and finished at 3-7. Man Valley earned a playoff spot for the first time since 2015, and All-County running back Nathaniel Costley helped lead the Mavericks to a 6-5 record that included a playoff win over Hammond. South Carroll lost 8 straight games before defeating county foe FSK in the final game of the regular season. Winners Mill posted county wins over Francis Scott Key and South Carroll. The Falcons finished at 4-5.
Thanks, Megan. After the break, we'll sit down with Michael Duffy, Supervisor of Athletics for Carroll County Public Schools, to hear about the impact of restructuring has had on local teams, plus a report on the 2019 high school golf season. It's all coming up when CMSportsNet returns.
Owls midfielder Kate Busey passes to Emily Davis, who shoots and scores to give the Owls a 3-2 lead. Westminster goes on to prevail in a 3-2 win over the Wooten Patriots.
Welcome back to CMSportsNet. I'm Mike Preston. Did you know a number of Carroll County student athletes made it all the way to the state championships? We're talking about high school varsity golf, and here with a season report is Chris Gooding, Director of Education and Development for the Lynx at Chaladon.
Thanks, Mike. Century Golf had a great season. They tied for third in the county and jumped 1 spot from last year. 2 seniors, Suzanne Martin and Liam Wolf, qualified for the 1A, 2A state championship in College Park. Both golfers placed 5th in the state in their divisions. Coach Kevin and Coach Megan are looking forward to next season. South Carroll's county record was 2 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie. Nick Amatu was a state qualifier, and he finished tied 7th at the state tournament, shooting a 2-day score of 76 and 80. Coach Joseph said that the highlight of the year was playing well at the district tournament. Despite not qualifying as a team, they shot a very good score that day. South Carroll is really looking forward to next season as the entire team returns. Everyone made great progress this year, and overall, they had a super season.
Thank you, Chris. Joining us now is Michael Duffy, Supervisor of Athletics for Carroll County Public Schools. Michael, thanks for being here tonight. And talk a little bit about the transitions to first year in Carroll County schools, some of the other issues you may have met at other places and then coming here.
Sure. I think probably the biggest change has been going from a school-based situation to now overseeing all the schools. But it's been a great transition. It's been really helpful to have such an outstanding group of athletic administrators we have and great coaches. I think probably the biggest challenge I've had is getting to know everybody and being visible and meeting coaches at each and every game and seeing so many different events, trying to get around to each school and each sport. That's definitely been a challenge, but it's been a fun challenge because it's fun to be around our high school students playing sports that they love. So that's been a great part of the transition.
How did the reorganization go this fall as far as football and soccer and the other sports?
It's interesting. Football playoffs expanded this year, going from just 4 teams in a region to 8 teams in a region, and I think it's been really beneficial. I had 5 of our 7 teams in the playoffs, which was exciting, and then we had, and with the other playoffs expanding, the regions breaking down a little bit further. For example, in 1A field hockey, we had 2 different teams win the region, so we had 2 teams make the state tournament in single classification. So that was it was interesting, and having our players and our teams have different opportunities to make the state quarterfinals, to make that state tournament. So that's definitely been a huge benefit, and I think looking forward, it's going to be even more exciting. It's also been interesting with teams changing regions, and for example, Manchester Valley and Westminster are no longer in the West, now they're in the East. So it's different teams for them to be playing. So it makes it more fun and exciting.
Great. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate your time, and good luck this season. Well, that does it for this edition of CM SportsNet. Thanks to Megan Woodward, Chris Goodling, Westminster coaches Danielle Midkiff and Marlon Jordan, Carroll Lynx coach Tom O'Brien, and my partner here, Bill McKenna. A special thank you to our community volunteers and sponsors who made this broadcast possible. I'm Mike Preston. Thank you for watching CM SportsNet's fall season wrap-up show. For more CM SportsNet coverage or to learn how to be part of our local sports coverage, visit carrollmediacenter.org.